Hello and welcome to live coverage of the Apex Gaming Last Chance Qualifier. This is a 5-round modern event where the top 4 players will qualify for tomorrow's $20,000 invitational. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Merriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
We have how many players in today's event? 32?
Exactly 32.
Exactly 32, and we're going to be playing 5 wonderful rounds, and we're not going to play to a cut to top 8 or anything like that. It's just the best 4 records will qualify. This is the first of 2 last chance qualifiers we'll be running today, the first one being Modern and the second one being Pioneer.
Yep. And with 32 people, it means taking a loss is a bit of a risk. We're going to have 2 players that are 4-0, barring unintentional draws. Those players should be able to intentionally draw in round 5 and lock their spot. And then we'll have 8 players at 3-1 playing for 2 slots. So you really need to have good tiebreakers. These early rounds are very, very important.
Yeah, for sure. Yesterday we did one of these similar events, a 5-round modern event where we watched Will Hall EXP, the streamer that runs the old Pro Tours, Grand Prix, and things on his stream. He was here playing in the event. He actually went 4-1, but bubbled, was the 5th out of 5 because he lost round 1.
Yeah, so he's going to be looking to get off to a better start today, and we're going to watch him in round 1.
Yeah, sure is. So give us a rundown of what he's playing and who his opponent is and what they're playing as well.
Yeah, looks like he is running back the exact same list he played yesterday. It went pretty well for him, so
Yep.
no reason to make many changes. He's going to be playing against Matt Como on Mono Black Coffers.
Bat Como is also known as Bomat. He's been in the commentary booth with me here at Apex twice now, once for Lorcana, once for Magic when Ross was visiting across the pond.
Yeah, so now he's going to, take his talents to the tables from the booth, see if
Yeah,
he can.
I was actually surprised to see him because he drove up after work yesterday, and it's a 5-hour drive by himself, so he is determined.
Yeah, dedicated to bringing this Coffers deck, the only one playing it in the room, and this is a deck that is known for being quite good in the Rakdos matchup.
Yeah.
Has a lot of card advantage with the One Ring and Karn, and it has Shieldrids and Orcish Bowmasters, and a lot of good removal as well. So, that combined with the mana engine from Cabal Coffers and Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth makes this a very powerful deck in mid-range matchups. So Will Hall, I think, has his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, it could be a tough one. Anyway, I think the players are ready in the feature match area, so without further ado, let's head on down there and watch and see who takes it down between Will Hall and Matt Como. They're going to be that middle table. Matt Como is going to be on your left with Mono Black Coffers, the hippie long mane, just really leaning into the bohemian vibes.
He's rocking it.
Yeah, on your right, Will Hall playing Rakdos Scam. We're going to start off here with Thoughtseize. Sees a hand of the One Ring, Shieldred the Apocalypse. I believe that's Blood Chief's Thirst, and then 4 lands. We got a Castle Lockthwain, Cabal Coffers. I believe that's an Urborg in a swamp.
Yeah, so has the Urborg Coffers combo in the opening hand.
Nice.
That means that he's going to be able to generate a lot of mana starting on turn 4.
Yeah, for those of you who play a good bit of Pioneer but maybe aren't familiar so much with modern cards, or at least with Cabal Coffers itself, Cabal Coffers is a really interesting card. I believe it was from Odyssey block originally. Torment is the set. And it says 2 tap, and then you get a black mana for every swamp you control. This deck is focused around that effect with Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, since it turns all of your lanes into swamps. Cabal Coffers really suffered from not being a swamp itself, right? And it doesn't tap for mana itself. Maybe, I can't remember.
It does not.
Yeah, I didn't think
so. The Urborg really supercharges that. And Will Hall realizing that this game is probably not going to be over all too quickly. He needs to take the most powerful card in the hand, and that is the One Ring.
All right, just a swamp for Matt. We're going to go back Will's way, see what he has for turn number 2, and nothing in a passive turn, but that can mean Orcish Bowmasters at flash.
You're never safe.
You are never safe. Orcish Bowmaster is one heck of a card, man. It's good pressure, great defensively, good in multiples. All right, just a pass of the turn for Matt. We're going to go end of turn, fetch. We're going to shock with a Blood Crypt and play Orcish Bowmaster. And Matt Como has the perfect counter, a Bowmaster of his own. And we see this from time to time. It's usually the person who plays Bowmaster second in the Bowmaster matchups where is the one who comes out on top. And here, Bowmat just crushing Will Hall's Bowmaster with his own.
It's Matt saying, I am the Bowmaster.
No kidding, Bowmaster! All right, so now Will Hall left with just a 1/1 Orc army. We'll see if he has another Bowmaster to take care of the opponent's one.
An excellent draw from Matt there. His deck is the more powerful going along, I would say, especially with that Castle Lock Thwain too. So if he can just keep the battlefield clear, get his mana engine online, he's going to start doing some really powerful things.
All right, here is a Thoughtseize number 2. That's going to take Karn the Great Creator from hand. That's going to steal another virtual, the One Ring from him. Yeah. Down to 13 already is Will Hall from his own lands and Thoughtseizes. No third land going to pass the turn back, and now Como with a lot of resource at his disposal and a lot of cards in hand.
Yeah. Once again, Will taking the most powerful long game card with his Thoughtseize, so continuing the same game plan from the first one. I like that.
All right, land number 3 from Matt says go again, but that could still mean he drew another Orcish Bowmasters. We'll see what Will wants to do this turn. We know he's got a Terminate lying around. He just drew a land number 3. Maybe that means Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Interestingly, Matt could have attacked with his Orc army offering the trade. And if Will wants to race back, you can start cracking back for 2. With Will at 13, that would have been a reasonable attack. But Matt taking a much more defensive posture in this game, realizing that he is the deck favored going along, doesn't need to get aggressive, even if he can plink in for a couple points of damage.
All right, Coffers here online with Urborg. This is going to tap 2 in the Coffers to make 4 black, and we still have that swamp up, and now every turn it's going to get bigger and bigger. We're starting off with Shoulder of the Apocalypse, but Will Hall with the perfect answer in Terminate, and we're going to go back his way.
When Shoulder doesn't get taken by either of the 2 Thoughtseizes, you got to expect there's a Terminate there waiting for it.
Right. All right. Will Hall going to go fetching again, going down to 12. No attacks from Matt, not being very aggressive. Instead, knowing that he is likely favored in the very long games thanks to those big resource generators like Karn the Great Creator and the One Ring.
Down a copy of each so far. Has a ton of removal in this mono black deck. I'm looking at 4 Fatal Push, 2 Shield's Edict, 2 Bloodchief's Thirst, 4 copies of March of Wretched Sorrow, and a Damnation.
March of Wretched Sorrow is very strong in a deck like this because you're able to generate tons of mana. The fact that it gains life on top means that you can just buy yourself a lot of time against some of these aggressive decks or just creature-based decks that win via attacking. I know he has a Damnation in hand, a Damnation one that we don't get to see too often in Modern, but it's a nice throwback. I wish they'd reprint Damnation into like Standard.
I mean, honestly, I would prefer 4 mana sweepers to the 6 mana unbeatable sweepers we have now.
Farewell is a toughie, and it makes cards, the Voice of Resurgence types cards are like significantly worse because of Farewell, and something like Damnation would help. But we're going to go for a Bloodchief's Thirst on the Dauthi Voidwalker.
He's floating 3 mana from the Cabal Coffers. I wonder if he's going to sink that into Castle here.
It seems like that's what he's going to do. Nice.
Going to take a decent-sized chunk.
Yeah, he's got 3 in hand, so I think he's taking 4 damage to draw a card, but I think he was going to miss a land drop otherwise and not be able to do anything with his mana, so I think that was kind of the reason why.
Yeah, does take 4, so, still doesn't find a land drop, though.
Okay, and go back Will's way. Doesn't fetch. Knows his life total is a little low.
Yeah, and there's an Urborg in play, so these fetch lands tap for mana.
Yep, and there's also the Urborg in play means that these don't deal us a damage either. So here's Fury to clean up the Bowmaster. I'm going to go back Matt's way.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see that Damnation.
Oh, yeah. This is why he wasn't attacking, right? Because he was just waiting for something like this to happen, playing defense against that 1-1. And he's at 14 now instead of like 12 or 11. Will Hall's life total being at 12 versus being at 8 is just like not very big of a difference.
Yeah, and with the Castle Lock Thwain, every point of damage could matter.
All right, we're going to cycle Troll Khazad-dûn. We saw this yesterday a little bit in the Living Index, but here we're seeing it in this Mono Black Coffers deck. I actually really like that addition to the strategy. And we're going to go get a Swamp. I used to play a lot of Twisted Abomination in like Mono Black Control when it was in Standard. That was always a fun time.
Yeah, they upgraded that one a little bit, didn't they?
Just a little. Turns out pretty big difference between Cycle for 1 and Cycle for 2.
Now makes 5 black with that Cabal Coffers.
Yeah, every land increasing his mana count by 2 instead of 1 now.
Okay. Yeah, save the Damnation. Shielded Edict can say non-tokens, so get rid of that Fury, and now we got a Shielded. Yeah, that's a great turn.
Yeah. All right, so Como going to deal 2 to Will during the draw step, and I think Will thinking about fetching on upkeep to thin the deck a little bit. With Urborg in play and the Shoulder in play, I'm good, man. I'm just letting those lands be lands thanks to Urborg. Will disagrees. I think fetching to thin the deck is extremely overrated.
It is, but here you're going to an odd number, so fetching once, I would have probably gotten a mountain over a swamp with Urborg in play, but
Are there even mountains in the deck? Sometimes there are, but sometimes there's not.
yeah, good call. Will does not have any basic mountains, so has to get a swamp.
All right, and a passing of the turn, and now fully in the driver's seat is Matt Como. Has Shoulder the Apocalypse, Braining and Draining. We got Castle Lockthwain at the ready as well, so if we're able to get lower on empty, to empty hand, it's going to be breaking even to draw cards. We're going to make 5 mana with Nykthos. We're going to draw a card with Castle Lockthwain, so we're going to take 4 but gain 2. So we're going to stay at 14, I believe.
Okay. Indeed. I see Damnation in hand that's been there for a while. Can't quite get a good glimpse of the rest.
All right, and a Cheapo Beepo March of Wretched Sorrow is going to drain on the token to allow Shoulder to attack in unfettered. It's going to put Will down to 5, and now draw step down to 3.
Yeah, if he doesn't have an answer here, it's game over.
Okay. He found something to play, nodding his head like he's not dead.
It's a good line.
Look, most of the time it's unintentional. All right, here's a Dashed Ragavan. This is actually one of the better cards here because he can find hard removal for the Shoulder. It's a Fatal Push!
And we've left
and he
one...
has a fetch land in play! He doesn't even have to crack it. He can crack the treasure.
Yeah, and that'd still leave him at 3, which would be better against a future Shieldred.
Wow. What a pickup off of the Ragavan. And Will back in this game, what seemed like an unwinnable position. Has Ragavan in hand after the dash.
Monkey to the rescue.
All right, Como draws for turn. Still a healthy life total, but his clock is gone, and his deck doesn't actually attack very well. Both Shieldreds in the graveyard.
He's got a 3rd Shieldred if he can draw it.
Yep.
Needs
Other
to find
than that,
one
though,
of those
needs
big...
like Karn the Great Creator, One
One
Ring,
Ring.
Orcish Bowmasters. These are all pretty good draws here.
Troll of Khazad-dûm would be good too.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's a Demolition Field. We're going to make 6 mana. And now Matt is going to use 3 of it to draw a card, taking 4 damage down to 14. I don't know that this is necessary, but I guess he just feels the pressure of the Ragavan and is looking for either a way to close the game or a way to check the Ragavan.
Yeah, you're not under a ton of pressure yet. And start blowing these Demolition Fields. Only 3 swamps in Will's list, so the next Field of Ruin / Demolition Field will be a Stone Rain.
Right, but eventually we'll run out of Blood Crypts as well. So hopefully Matt's able to constrict the red mana over time to make Fury no longer a factor. We'll see.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if Will is now gonna crack the fetch on the end step so he has access to 2 red without having to shock himself.
Yeah, that will leave him in a little bit of trouble against a future Shieldred, but with only 1 left in the deck, I think the 2nd red maybe is just a little more important. But ooh, Drew Terminate. That's a nice pickup. It's going to protect him from that possible 3rd Shieldred. Here's a Dash Ragavan. We'll see if it connects. See if Bomat picked up a removal spell for it. Here it is, another Shieldred's Edict. Goodbye, Ragavan.
Okay, so now the board is stable. Matt still has that Castle Lockthwain going.
Looks like we found another Cabal Coffers. It's not legendary, so this is going to be an enormous burst of mana. We're going to tap for 7 here. And then, like Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, we're going to go down to 5 and then up to 12. But if we're going to start with Activate Castle Lockthwain, we're going to take another big chunk of damage. Down to 6.
Yeah, Matt playing a little cavalier with his life total at this point. But
He's trying to close the game. He knows that he's... Oh, well, this is one reason to take a bunch of damage. Cling to Dust. At some point, he could just Cling to Dust to eat a creature and gain some life. So
yeah, Cling is an excellent draw there. That's a 2 of in Matt's list.
Yeah, and has a fully stocked graveyard here, so even if he doesn't have much else to do with his mana, he can still just play Cling to Dust multiple times from the grave.
Yeah, so use the other coffers going up to 8 mana now. And we can escape it twice.
Okay. Escape is a really powerful effect from Theros Beyond Death. We saw it completely ruined formats with Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. It's very fun and good on cards like Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, but Cling to Dusk is one that's in a lot of main decks in Pioneer as like a one of, and it is quite strong. And here we're seeing it in Modern. I think maybe for me it's the first time I've seen it cast in Modern, and it looks great.
Okay, second Escaped Cling hits a Fury, so that's going to get Matt a little bit of life back. And now Will decides to go for the fetch. So at 2 life, yeah, Bowmaster would be super threatening. Shielder would threaten to end the game immediately. I'm wondering if there's a Walking Ballista in the sideboard for Karn. Doesn't look like it.
Wah, wah. Seems like a nice one of for the Karn in this deck since you have so much mana.
Yeah. As far as big hitters, I see a Cityscape Leveler and a Sundering Titan.
All right, Will draws another fetch land, plays it. We'll see what he's got. Here is Grief. He's going to use Urborg to let the Polluted Delta tap for mana so he can hold up both Blood Crypts. Grief's going to come down, and we'll see if Como has a response. Bowmaster puts Will Hall to 1, makes a lethal attacker, but we know there's a Terminate hanging out over there. March of Wretched Sorrow is got to be the take.
Yeah, has to take the March, otherwise he's dead.
Okie dokie. Another Urborg, though. That means Matt's going to have access to roughly 20-ish mana this turn.
Matt was 1 mana short there. If he had 1 more mana, he could have marched pitching the Damnation and just killed the Grief in response, and then had the 2 1/1s against just a Terminate.
All right, another another Cabal Coffers is played. We're going to make 8 mana here.
And it's a tough situation for Matt, because if there's a removal spell there, you're going to lose both your creatures, and you're under pressure from the Grief. I guess you could just Damnation it away and then play the top deck war, but...
Well, he's going to spend a bunch of life and some mana to draw a card, finds just another swamp. And I think what we're going to see here is just an attack with both things. Willhall's probably going to block Bowmaster. That actually unlocks the Cling to Dust, I believe, from the graveyard. I can't remember if he needs 4 or 5 cards to exile, but... All right, Terminate on the token. We're going to clear both things. Willhall saves his last point of life.
Yeah, and only 5 life now for Matt because of all those castle activations. I think we'll see the Damnation. You know, Will doesn't have any cards in hand, so you're dealing with everything he has. And then next turn you can draw an extra card with the Cling to Dust. I guess we can still do both.
Yeah, so we can Damnation, and then we'll use Cling to Dust to draw a card.
We could have floated some mana off this.
He used the floating mana to pay for it.
But we still got a Cabal Coffers.
Oh, that's true. You could have floated again. Yeah,
we could have gone up to 10 and floated 6 mana.
Okay, back Como's way. Let's see if he finds a kill here. Another Bowmaster will do it.
The 4th Coffers.
Okay,
Demolition Field. That's an interesting one because it cuts Will off of 2nd red, so now Fury is not a good draw.
All right, we're going to take a gander through the deck, but we know that 3 swamps are there, and that's the only swamps. We've been through at least 3 total Blood Crypts now, 2 in the grave, 1 in play. Is there a 4th in his list? Sometimes
yes, there are 4 Blood Crypts.
Cool. All right, so not cut off from double red quite yet if he wants... Oh, no, but the fetch is dead because he's at 1, so okay.
But no threat from Matt Como.
His deck is very reactive, you know.
Yeah, he's drawn so many extra cards and still just hasn't found another... I think that's Shieldred.
Okay.
I was going to say hasn't found another Karn or the One Ring.
All right, that's it. No 3rd Terminate for Will Hall, and Matt Como wins game number 1. As these players are reaching to their sideboards for a little bit of help, I'm going to have my main man, Ross, take a look at their board and give his expert analysis to tell you how they're going to be sideboarding. Let's start with the Will Hall EXP. How does he improve this Coffers matchup with Rakdos Scam?
Will's sideboard has 2 copies of Bone Crusher Giant, 2 Feed the Swarm, 1 Kolaghan's Command, 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Chalice of the Void, 4 Leyline of the Void, and 2 Blood Moon.
Blood Moon seems kind of good, even against that monocolor deck.
I like the Feed the Swarms. I like the Kolaghan's Command because this is a Karn deck. There's going to be some artifacts, and those cards just help you grind. They're probably just better than some of your other removal, like Lightning Bolt. And Feed the Swarm also can answer Leyline of the Voids if those come in from Matt's side. Yeah, Blood Moon is the interesting one. We'll see if Will brings it in. You know, it shuts down that mana engine. It also shuts down all of the Field of Ruins demolition fields. But there are a bunch of basic swamps. It's not going to completely take out Matt's ability to play Magic. So,
Yeah, it's like a Blood Moon that hits an Urza Saga rather than a Blood Moon that makes the game last 20 turns and no one plays any spells.
yeah, I mean, there's 9 swamps and 3 copies of Troll of Khazad-dûm to find them. So,
Yeah.
uh,
All right. Well, on the other side of things, Matt Como's reaching for his mono black Coffers sideboard. It is a Karn sideboard, but what else does he have in there that he might be bringing in?
yeah, so there's 11 Karn targets and then 4 copies of Leyline of the Void, and we've
Nice.
seen Leyline in the Rakdos sideboards for the mirror match. So I imagine those will come in as well to stop a lot of the scam shenanigans. The rest of the sideboard here is the Cityscape Leveler and Sundry Titan I mentioned, as a 4th copy of the One Ring, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Liquid Metal Coating, the Stone Brain, an Elixir of Immortality, a Chalice of the Void, an Engineered Explosives, a Tormod Script, and then my favorite card in the sideboard, and this is from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, one Tithing Blade.
Tithing Blade?
Yes.
You know, I don't mean to be weird or whatever. You could offer me $1 million to tell you what this card did, and I don't think I'd be able to do it.
So it is an artifact for 1 and a black.
Okay.
When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature.
That's a great
So you
Karn tutor. That's
so you
awesome.
can wish for a removal spell,
Yeah.
and it has craft with a creature for 4 and a black. And when you craft it, it becomes an artifact that says at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life.
This card's rad. Okay, I'm in. Let's get it. All right, we'll get it on screen for you in just a minute. But while these players are shuffling up here for game number 2, I'd like to take this time and say thank you to the sponsors of the Apex Gaming Invitational Series. First up, Ultimate Guard is the premier TCG supplier for things like sleeves, deck boxes, and things like that. Highly recommend the Katana sleeves. They're some of the best in the business. The Archive deck box is a giant deck box that can hold cubes as well as a number of commander decks. Go check your local game store today and ask them for Ultimate Guard products. Moxfield is a brand new deck building website. We've been using it on stream over the last few days, and I gotta say I'm impressed. It's a great deck builder for sharing lists. Check out moxfield.com. Build some lists today and share them with your friends. Thank you to Wings, etc. Grill and Pub for keeping us fed and happy on these long tournament weekends. We ate there last night, and we're probably going to go again tonight. And then last but not least, our flagship sponsor. Thank you to TCGplayer.com, the industry leader in the TCG marketplace. Make sure to go to TCGplayer.com if you need cards for any upcoming tournaments for any of these collectible card games, from Magic the Gathering all the way down to Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and now Disney's Lorcana. Check out TCGplayer.com for all your singles needs, as well as explore their sister site, TCG Player Infinite, where they post all of their written content, strategy stuff from big names like Hall of Famer Frank Karsten. As these players are shuffling up here for game number 2, I'd also like to say thank you to Apex Gaming for having Ross Merrim and myself come and bring you commentary. We always love coming up here to Caldwell, Ohio, and we'd love to have y'all out here sometime to come say hi. Make sure to head out to Apex Gaming in Caldwell, Ohio for future events, and check out apexgaming.gg if you're looking to play any of their events for next year.
It looks like both players took a mulligan to 6, but I think we've got 2 keeps after that.
Life totals.
You know, I would say that favors the Rakdos player, especially if they start with double grief.
Yeah, I mean, this is the nightmare scenario against the Rakdos scam deck. This is why it's called scam. You're able to play the turn 1 evoke creature and then use Not Dead After All or something like that to just ruin someone's life.
There's no swamp in Matt's hand, just has a troll, and that's a swamp that can get taken with grief.
I am reminded of playing with dual face cards that are lands on the back and spells on the front. Getting those Thoughtseize every now and then is a bad time. Keeps them kind of sketchers sometimes. All right, here we go. Not Dead After All. We're going to get that Wicked Roll token on the grief in just a moment. Thanks to Django for the sub. Appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely taking the troll with one of the grief triggers. It's a question of what else to take.
Yeah, I mean, it's what? Is that a Feed the Swarm? What is that?
That is a Cling to Dust and then a Bloodchief's Thirst next to the Shieldred.
Doesn't look like a Cling to Dust to me. Is it a different art? I've seen Cling to Dust multiple times before. It's weird. It's like washed out or something. I can't tell. Anyway, maybe the Shield Red, maybe the Blood Chief's Thirst, maybe that middle card there if it's Cling to Dust.
Yeah, we did exile a Terminate to the Grief, so fewer answers to the Shieldred in Will Hall's deck.
What you laughing at, Director? Will Hall is from England.
So-
He flew here because he's a baller.
So you see in 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, invented what we now know as an aeroplane.
All it took.
Born here in Ohio.
Yeah.
They were. They had a bike shop in Dayton.
All you have to do to get here is 20 hours on planes, 2 hours car ride. That's it.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 British people here, which is kind of pushing it for me.
You should really turn your mic on. Sharon doesn't like being observed, but
Okay, we took the Cling to Dust with the other Grief Trigger, and yeah, Matt does not find a swamp. I think this game is going to end rather quickly.
yeah, but he does have a little bit of time. The Blood Chief's Thirst doesn't quite do it here, but
That's a damnation.
I saw him pick up a swamp there last turn.
Okay, if we can just find one black source, the Field of Ruin / Demolition Field will turn into a second.
He has a swamp. He's playing coy.
Old Cheeky Matt, as we like to call him.
We don't call him that. we have never called him that.
But we could.
Stop lying to the people. They deserve the truth.
No, they don't.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go Bowmaster here on turn number 2. Will Hall putting the pressure on. This is one of the downsides to Blood Chief's Thirst is it is a sorcery, so we can't use it to kill the Bowmaster. We don't have black in play, but we know that Matt's sandbagging that swamp, and if it was Fatal Push, he definitely would have played the swamp.
Yeah,
Attack for 5, 6. Ouch.
It's going to put him to 9. Ooh. Yeah, Thoughtseize can take the damnation, and now things are looking quite grim.
Well, we can still technically Damnation before we're dead, if it doesn't get taken here by the Thoughtseize.
Yeah, we just need somebody to drive a railroad spike through Will Hall's brain.
Jeez Louise. Is that from something?
No.
Okay, that's like, man, all right. Getting grim in here.
Yeah, that was a little aggressive.
Look, you could say we need someone to pull the fire alarm. That's something you could have said. That's how Matt Como wins this game.
Will's doing the math. He might be taking the Blood Chief's Thirst. If he has a way to deal 2 damage to the damnation, it doesn't matter. Because he can attack for 6 here, and the Wicked Roll will deal 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the math. Realizes damnation's the only way Matt gets back into this game.
No cards left in hand though for Will Hall. Does just play his swamp as the last one. Como draws. We know he has Blood Chief's Thirst, which he can deploy here on the Bowmaster, but if he has Damnation, and he no longer does, curious what he's going to do. Okay, we're going to go blowing up your red source. We're going to go get a swamp and play Blood Chief's Thirst on the Bowmaster, but we're still going to be taking 5 damage next turn down to 4.
This does open up Shieldred's Edict, because now there's only one non-token creature, and it's the Grief.
Right.
So you can go to 4, Shieldred's Edict, you'll take 1 from the Wicked Roll, go down to 3, and then only take 1 attack from the Orc Army down to 2, and then have another turn.
Yeah. I think the big question here is, A, what did Matt draw this turn? And B, can he draw a land either that turn or next turn? Because something like the One Ring could buy him a full turn by giving that fog effect. But something like Karn the Great Creator is just like 1 turn too slow at this juncture. That draws. That's a Shieldred's Edict. He might have some extra space here to work. Finds Urborg as a land as well.
Yeah, so now could activate the Demolition Field, cut Will off of red mana,
Brutal.
and the lack of Mountain getting really punished here in the 7 Field of Ruin deck.
If Will is not getting a swamp here, Will did not get a swamp. That's 100% that the land in hand's a swamp. Or the card in hand's a swamp.
And Matt saw 3 swamps in game 1, so he should pick up on that.
All right, Matt, going to pass the upkeep, and on your upkeep to play around Bowmaster, we're going to eat that. We're We're going to take 1 down to 3. The attack from the orc does put us to 2. A Bowmaster off the top is lethal because it grows the orc army. Here's a Thoughtseize.
Oh, that's huge because Matt had the Shielder back to stabilize. Now he needs to find something else off the top.
He has Cling to Dust in the graveyard, so he can gain some life. See what he drew. He wants to cling and not draw a card. He doesn't have to main phase it. All right, passing of the turn.
If you're going to gain life with the Cling, you should do it before you take damage. Ooh, we found a Bowmaster. Okay. That'll clear up the Orc army, and now Matt is stable.
Okay. And Will Hall, no access to red mana. A Cabal Coffers off the top. That combined with Cling to Dust could allow a card draw this turn plus something else. Koma might have other plans, though. Maybe just pad his life total a little bit. He can only cling 1 time here with the current graveyard status.
Yeah, looks like 8 total cards in the graveyard, so 7 other than the Cling. So he'll need 3 more cards in there before he can escape it again. Okay, red source for Will opens up a lot more draws.
Okay, in a turn, we're going to make Cabal Coffers 5 mana, and that's going to allow for Cling. We'll see what he wants to take. Going to start off with just a Thoughtseize to draw a card.
Yeah, he's playing defense against Ragavan with the Orc army. Now he's got to be scared of a Bowmaster from Will, though.
All right, another land for Matt. See if he's able to cobble something together here.
Really needs to find like a Karn. The One Ring does not look great at only 2 life.
Will Hall, constricted on mana, low on resources overall. Discard spells at this point aren't very good. I have no. Oh, that's
Blood Moon?
It's a Fable. Is it a Blood Moon? Is that what is that? Are you kidding me? Is this a joke?
And the Blood Moon at this point doesn't do a whole lot. Matt has plenty of mana.
I don't care about that. I care about that I can't even see what this card is.
Grief is a good one. Do we have a removal spell back for it? Oh, it has Fatal Push. That is not going to do it.
All right, we can still double block it, though. We don't have Coffers mana, but we have access to plenty of black and plenty of raw mana. 6, Troll of Khazad-dûn. The big finisher comes down for Matt Como. Let's see if Will Hall can do anything about it. Land number 5 is a Blood Crypt, or is a Bloodstained Mire, excuse me.
It was a little scary because it could have been Furious, the last card in Will's hand. I like getting aggressive here for Matt. He's dead to a removal spell, but this Troll is going to be lethal in most of the time.
Yeah, we need 3 blockers. We learned that yesterday. And Will Hall packs it in. Matt Como comes back and defeats Will Hall 2-0. I'm pissed about that Blood Moon, man. I'm sorry. That's I saw people complaining about like the Pink Floyd One Ring. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like the eyeball that's like melting into the poster.
I have not.
But that is maybe the least looking magic card I have ever seen. And my gut instinct was to go out there and rip it to pieces.
You know how I could tell it was a Blood Moon? Because Will put it to the left side of his battlefield. If he had put it to the right side, if it was Fable, it would have gone to the right side and then the token to the left.